So how long should we keep the shutdown going on? The first thing you have to consider when you lock down 4 to 5 billion people on this planet, the first question you must think about and answer is, till when? How long? And what are we planning to achieve from this prolonged lockdown? Are we planning to wait the virus out? Well, that's a ridiculous plan. The virus is not going anywhere. It's staying here with us, and even if it disappears, you can't expect this to happen optimistically until 1 or 2 years. So then you say, oh, we're waiting until the immunity builds up. Well, guess what? Natural immunity is not gonna build if we are not in contact with the virus, if we are locked down. It only builds up if we get infected and then recover. So then you say, oh, it's the vaccine. We're waiting for the vaccine to be built. Well, vaccines don't take just few months to get built and get produced on mass scale and shipped. Usually they take between 12 to 18 months for this entire process, including the medical trials. Even today, with all the labs in the world and all the scientists in the world focusing their efforts in one direction, which is finding this vaccine, even with the news announcing more than 70 candidates for this vaccine, you still cannot realistically expect anything to go through the clinical trials and the approvals faster than 8, 10, 12 months. And then another 6 months to figure out how to build it on a mass scale and ship it on a mass scale. And obviously you cannot wait 12 to 18 months. Obviously you cannot keep people inside for 12 to 18 months, because in 12 to 18 months you would have decimated the economy and caused much more losses of employment and yes, of lives than you would have saved by locking everyone down. It's also important to note that in many cases, herd immunity builds up much faster than any vaccine we could conjure up. In a most recent case, the company that was working on the vaccine for the Zika virus abandoned its efforts after 2 years of very hard work because the herd immunity had outpaced it and its work had become irrelevant. On the shorter end of the equation, you hear world leaders of large countries saying, oh, we're not gonna wait 12 months or 18 months to end the shutdown. We're gonna open up in 3 months from now or 6 months from now. You hear some of them saying we will start scaling back these measures in June. Which then begs the question, how is this any different to opening up tomorrow? I mean, whether you open up tomorrow or you open up in June, the virus is still there. The herd immunity has not built yet, and no vaccine is ready yet. So you see, the whole thing is a slap in the face for anyone who values consistency, for anyone who values sanity, for anyone with a minimum sense of reason. But now you come back and say, we're not gonna open up tomorrow, we're gonna open up in 6 months because we want to alleviate the pressure on the medical system. And that's not just to decrease the number of deaths, because there will always be deaths, but to avoid triage, which is a horrible experience that I wish no one has to go through. And you also say, well, these 6 months will buy us time to prepare more beds, to build more ICUs and ventilators, to allocate more facilities, to basically raise the line above the curve that we also intend to flatten. And these two arguments are legitimate, and they do sound legitimate, but I submit to you that they are also flawed arguments. Now, hear me out. What is causing the pressure on the medical system is not the young and healthy getting infected. It's the risk groups getting infected. So, if you want to decrease the pressure on the medical system, you don't have to lock everyone in. What you have to do is to isolate those risk groups, to isolate the elderly, to isolate anyone with a pre-existing condition, to shield them, to protect them from any contact, to cocoon them, while letting everyone else go back out to work and produce and pursue their livelihood and prevent the economy from crashing. And make no mistake, in the background of this entire discussion looms the phantom of an economic recession. And the longer we wait, the higher the probability of this economic recession becoming a full-on long-term depression. So to summarize, a long shutdown for 12 months is crazy and unreasonable. A shorter shutdown for 6 months when nothing has changed is equally crazy and inconsistent and unreasonable. Opening up tomorrow without any sort of strategy is the epitome of crazy and unreasonable. What is the only plan that is reasonable and that makes sense is to identify the risk groups and then isolate them and shield them and protect them and cocoon them, while letting everyone else go back as soon as possible to work and to produce and to contribute to the economy.